with the first pick in the 2000.
Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bringing you my mid-season mock draft for the 2013 NFL Draft. Very early in the process. We love to do these things in the mid-season and one at the end of the season. But like I said, this is our mid-season mock draft, week 8 of the NFL season. So let's get started with the number 1 pick.
First, let's look at the mock draft rules. Rule number 1, picks are based off my own ranking of the prospects. I don't use anybody else's list. This is my rankings. Picks are based off what I would do as a GM. That's rule number 2. And rule number 3 is picks are based off need and not best player available. So with that said, let's move on to the first pick. It's clear the Kansas City Chiefs need a quarterback. And if they had a quarterback on that roster, this is a legit playoff team that can go deep into the playoffs, and I think Geno Smith is that guy. Very smart, tremendous leader, accuracy, intelligence, everything that you want from the neck up from a quarterback, he provides that. And oh, by the way, he does have tremendous skill set. So I think Geno Smith is a fine prospect and should do well in Kansas City. I think Sam Montgomery is one of the more complete defensive ends in the draft. This guy is 6'5", 260, can play the run very well, does a great job in pushing the pocket and getting to the quarterback. And I think that's what they need in Cleveland. You team him up opposite of Jabal Sheard. Now you get Phil Taylor back, Atiba Rubin on that defensive front. That'll be a formidable front for the Browns that should be able to wreak havoc in the AFC North. I'm giving the Jags star Lotulelei, the defensive tackle from Utah. They need to stop the run. They need to get pressure from within, so that way their outside edge rushers can have those one-on-one opportunities. And I think Lotulelei does a great job in collapsing the pocket and also providing pressure from within. And the Jags can use a quarterback, but I think there's guys in the second round, in my opinion, that could fit perfectly for what the Jags want to do offensively. So I think star Lotulelei does a great job in filling a need for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Panthers have to go defense. They have to make sure they put pieces on that defense to be successful. They got to get off the field. They can't stop the run, and Johnathan Hankins will help solve those issues for the Panthers. So I think with his frame, 6'3", 320, ability to stonewall the line of scrimmage and also get pressure from within, that's what you need in Carolina. I think he'll do a great job on that defensive front for the Panthers. I don't care what anybody says. You get 13 interceptions, I want you on my football team. And David Aaronson, despite having some struggles early on in the season, is still a fine cornerback prospect, and they need secondary help in Detroit. Why not get a guy that can catch the football just as equally as receivers? I think he is a great prospect, and that's why I have him going 5th to Detroit. Detroit needs guys back there that can make plays, get the ball back for that explosive offense, and Aaronson will fit that role perfectly. I'm giving the Saints Bajoran Werner, a Florida State defensive end. When you're coached by Steve Spagnuolo that loves the defensive line depth, you have to go up front, even though they have holes all over the defense. And I think Warner reminds me a lot of Jared Allen, not because he's white, because he plays just like Jared Allen. Does a great job in pushing the pocket, can stop the run, and has that burst and closing speed to the quarterback that you want coming off the edge. The Raiders need help at outside linebacker, and Jarvis Jones is one of the best in the country. Redshirt junior, 6'2", 242. One thing he does well, gets to the quarterback, and he also excels in pass coverage. So he has that versatility. You add him to that Raiders defense, that front seven, I think he's going to do a great job, not only in nickel situations, but every down type of situations. Should be a great pick for the Raiders. Solidifying the offensive line is mission number 1 for Tampa. Luke Joeckel, Texas A&M tackle, is one of the finest prospects in the country. Left side, you see right there, pass blocking, also excels in the running game. Should keep Josh Freeman upright back there in the pocket, and I think Freeman will benefit greatly from an improved offensive line. Let's not forget, they also get Davin Joseph back, so this offensive line for the Bucs will be formidable next season. When you look up athletic edge rusher in the dictionary, you're going to see a picture of Barkevious Mingo from LSU. This guy is 6'4", 240, redshirt junior, so he may or may not come out, but this guy has tremendous burst and closing speed off the edge, and they need that in that 3-4 defense for Chuck Pagano. You got to continue to add weapons on that offense for Miami that already has Reggie Bush, Lamar Miller, 2 good tight ends in Clay, and also Fasano. Now you get a receiver out there, Keenan Allen. This guy is supremely athletic. Reminds me a lot of Brandon Marshall, and what he brings to the table should help grow with Ryan Tannehill. And now that offense will become a lot more balanced and a lot more dangerous. Monte Teo feels a huge need for the Broncos, being a middle linebacker, 6'2", 255, one of the best pure middle linebackers to come out of the college ranks in a while. And I like the way he plays the game. Has improved each and every year. Got solid, more solid in the run game, got even more solid in pass coverage. So this guy is the complete linebacker and should fit nicely in that Broncos defense. Cowboys need help on the interior of the offensive line in pass protection and also opening up holes in the running game. Chance Warmack, the best guard in the country, will start from day one and be a very good player also from day one for the Dallas Cowboys. Tennessee also needs help on the offensive line to bolster the running game. Barrett Jones is a versatile guy. Some people don't like him. I like him a lot because he can play 3 positions up front, and you want that type of versatility. This guy is going to be a tremendous player for a very long time, especially if he lands in Tennessee. The Rams get back-to-back picks in the first round due to the trade with the Washington Redskins, so they go with Jake Matthews, the right tackle for Texas A&M, with the first pick. Got to secure the pass protection on the right side and also the running game. And speaking of the running game, which is why you go and get Jonathan Cooper, the second best guard in the draft. So you have solidified your offensive line in the first round with 2 picks. We all know the Chargers need help on the offensive line. Taylor Leeuwen from Michigan, 6'7", 310 pounds, would fit in perfectly on that offense and keeping Phillip Rivers well protected in the pocket. Now it seems like football season that we got a Michigan lineman going in the first round. It's evident the Jets need playmakers out wide at the receiver position. And one thing I like about Justin Hunter, he can catch the football with his hands. And that already right there makes him better than what the Jets have on the roster outside of Santonio Holmes. Now he has the deep speed. He has fully recovered from the ACL surgery, so the burst and acceleration is there. 6'4", he can high point the football with his hands, so that makes him an instant threat in that Jets offense. There's a lot to like about Tyler Wilson, and Buffalo will like him a lot because he's instantly better than what they have on the roster at quarterback. And I think get this guy in that offense, in that Chan Gailey spread him out offense, and you're going to see a lot of points being scored out there in Buffalo. The only question I have is how fully recovered is he from those concussions, those lingering issues. If there are no medical checks, then this guy will be a steal for the Buffalo Bills right here at 18. The Eagles need help in the back half of their defense. Strong safety Kenny Vacarro, I think, fits perfectly in that defense. Why? Because he's versatile. Not only can he come up and lay the wood in the running game, but he has the ball skills to pick off passes. That's the versatility you want in that defense. That also helps you eliminate mistakes, not only in the running game, but also when teams go over your head deep down the field. The Bengals have to get younger and more athletic in their secondary. Jonathan Banks is one of the best cornerbacks in the country. May even challenge David Aaronson for that #1 corner spot. 6'1", 190. Another one of these cornerbacks that always ends up with the football in his hands. Played in the SEC top competition. Also is a very good tackler, and we know how aggressive they like to get with their corners. They could also go explosive running back. There's none right here at this spot that they could pick, so I give them Banks out of Mississippi State. I think the Steelers have to add youth in the safety position, and Eric Reed from LSU could fit in that role perfectly. 6'2", 212, a versatile guy in my opinion. He can play free, he can also play strong, and I think that's the type of versatility that the Steelers love to have in their secondary. The Cardinals need a quarterback, and they also need offensive linemen, but they've drafted offensive linemen. They got to draft a quarterback, and that's why I have Matt Barkley going to Arizona. He trusts what he sees, and he anticipates. That's what's lacking from the quarterback play in Arizona. It's not the talent, because Cobb has some talent, so does Skelton, but they don't anticipate well. They don't trust what they see. Matt Barkley encompasses both of those things from the QB position. The The Packers need a running back, and the reason why I'm giving him Marcus Lattimore is he's a better fit in their offense than Monty Ball. This guy can protect the passer, used to playing in that spread type of attack down there in South Carolina, looks to be fully recovered from his ACL injury, and this guy is a tough and physical runner, and that's what they need. When they have those leads late in the game, they need to burn clock. This is the perfect guy to do so, and I think he'll fit perfectly in that Packers offense, giving them an element out of the backfield that they've never had since Ahman Green. Somehow, some way, the Patriots always end up with an explosive playmaker in the first round. They drafted Chandler Jones last year. I think this year they go ahead and get the Montre Moore out of Texas A&M, 6'4", 250. Has the athleticism and the versatility that Bill Belichick wants in his defensive ends that can also drop back in coverage or play stand-up defensive end in a 3-4 look. So with that said, I think Moore will fit perfectly in New England. The Seahawks need to continue to add playmakers for their franchise quarterback, Russell Wilson, who's smart and cerebral and will find an open guy. They just need weapons outside, and this guy, Cordarrelle Patterson, has been a threat since he stepped foot on the Tennessee campus. Can do it from the kickoff return game, the punt return game. You see right there with the handoff on the end around, and also has the speed to get deep down the field and catches everything with his hands. A true game breaker at the position. The Vikings have one legit threat at wide receiver, and that's Percy Harvin. They need to add another one to make that offense just open up tremendously. That's Robert Woods out of USC. Sneaky speed. You get the football in his hands quickly. He can make one miss, has that speed to take it the distance, and also doesn't mind laying out for footballs. So you know how much I like that out of wide receivers. The Ravens are another football team that have to get younger at the safety position, and I think T.J. McDonald will make a lot of sense for this ball club right here. This guy is a 6'2", 210-pound senior, has the ball skills, and also has the ability to tackle, and he would go into the perfect situation right there in Baltimore. I think if you add Tyler Eifert to that situation down there in Chicago, that offense will be one of the more dangerous offenses in the league at every position outside of offensive line. But you think the offensive line is going to get better, but you have to add playmakers on the flanks. Tyler Eifert gives Jay Cutler that safety blanket. I think that's just going to open up the entire field for that passing game and make the Bears one of the more dangerous offenses you want to face in the National Football League. The Niners have to protect themselves for the potential leaving of one of their interior defensive linemen. So I think John Jenkins makes a lot of sense here. 6'3", 360 nose tackle from Georgia. Also has the ability to get pressure on the quarterback. You have to like that going to San Francisco. The only need I think the Giants have is the depth at the cornerback position. So why not get one of the better ones in the country and Dee Milliner out of Alabama? You know, he's well coached down there by Nick Saban, but he has the ball skills. He can play man press. He can play in zone. Versatile type of guy, can also play in the slot. So I think he would go great with that Giants defensive secondary. As I felt last offseason when I put Ruben Randall here for the Houston Texans, they still need a number 2 target opposite of Andre Johnson. Derek Rogers out of Tennessee Tech, formerly of the University of Tennessee, would go great in that offense. This guy has that frame that you want and excels in the routes that the Houston Texans love to run. Those deep dig routes, those over routes. And you see right there, this guy is a monster to take down. Kind of reminds a lot of people of Andre Johnson. Dion Jordan has been playing some impressive football for Oregon this season, and he would instantly upgrade the athleticism and the speed coming off the edge for the Atlanta Falcons defensive ends. You got John Abraham, who's a very good player, but he's 75 years old. You have to get younger at that position. Why not get one of the more explosive edge rushers in the country? And in the second round, I'm giving the Washington Redskins a versatile safety, Tony Jefferson, a guy that can play close to the line of scrimmage, can also play back there at free safety. And you want these type of guys in that aggressive defense so you can get creative with your packages, your coverage packages, your blitz packages. I like the way the guy plays the game, and he probably is going to end up in the first round, in my opinion. He's that type of player. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have a lot of feedback and comments with this mock draft. So feel free to call into the Football Game Plan radio show every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan.